All right, doing the tweet. Tweeting.
I will tune in on Twitch right now.
Not showing up for me.
It should take a second. I just pressed it live.
Oh.
There it is.
Not showing up for me.
It should take a second. I just pressed.
Oh, I'm muting this.
Yeah, you gotta mute it. Sorry. Yeah, the echo. So yeah, it was my problem that I was trying to fix is that I'm getting the ultra wide bars despite the resolution being set to 2560. Okay. Yeah. So I had to work around that.
But other than that, CJ, did the other than not being able to stream, did the layout for my stream look correct?
Yep, it was all good.
Okay, good deal.
So we're gonna have an ultra wide DUSK play.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you everyone for checking out and waiting for this. Took a little bit to get the troubleshooting set up. Today we're joined by David, also known as DUSK Dev, and we're gonna check out his game. Now, I've known your work for quite some time before DUSK. I was a big fan of the Music Machine, and I went through the Moon Sliver and A Wolf in Autumn, and underrated. I wish those games were not Fingerbones. No, I didn't.
Okay, that's fine. You can skip that one.
Too soon. That was too early. I think I came in with Moon Sliver, and then I remember I recognized your name on the developer page on Steam, and I was like, all right, let's check out the Music Machine, and it was just really, really great. I wish more sites covered that game.
Yeah, me too. I had gotten a lot of coverage for Fingerbones and okay amount for the Moon Sliver, and then it just sort of petered off from there.
Oh.
Yeah, which was a shame, but oh well.
So Jordan has played this before. I've played just the demo, but he's definitely played more than me.
How much of the demo was it? Just like the first 2 levels?
You've played the let's see, the pre-alpha demo, or the? Are you talking about what you played at QuakeCon?
Kill the intruder.
I played through all of episode 1. All right. 9 chapters.
There would be 11 levels, or well, if you got the secret level, there'd be 11 levels.
Okay.
But the pre-alpha demo is actually not in the game at all. That was just a specially made demo. It may show up some other time. It's in some way.
Yeah, no, I played through, and I blitzed through most of it. I didn't have time to finish all of it before I had worked yesterday, but blitzed through most of it in a pretty decent amount of time, and it just has a really good, like, it's a rare kind of game that is, and I think it's because it's so reliant on speed that it can be just as fun to play on the easiest difficulty, and playing it on a harder difficulty can become an entirely different experience. Yeah, like there is something about just running full throttle through just some of the wide open areas, or just jetting through these tight corridors incredibly fast. That brings back a lot of memories of me playing, Unreal Tournament back in the day.
Yeah, I think it's the sort of game that even if you play on like super easy or on God mode or cheat or whatever, it's still pretty fun. That was kind of what we wanted to do with it, or make sure that it was just fun,
Yeah, and it kind of carries with it. I mean, obviously you guys are playing a lot of homage to Doom, Duke Nukem, a lot of the classics of the genre.
Yeah,
and I think that's included in that. Those worlds and those weapons are fun to use, even on the lower difficulties. There's a catharsis to the way everything works together. I think you guys really nailed.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a couple times too. Oh, sorry, CJ.
There you go.
There's a couple times too that I've noticed, and I'll point them out as I watch CJ. That were pretty. At least I think they were pretty direct, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Direct homages to levels in Duke or Doom.
There's at least a couple, so I'm sure you're right about at least a couple. I know there was one. I saw someone, I think it was either on Discord or Steam, point out as being an homage that I'm like, that actually wasn't, but I could totally see it now that you point it out.
I was going to ask, how did this game come to be? Was it your original concept and you pitched it to publishers, and then that's when you met Dave Oshry at New Bloods, or was it reverse?
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, that was basically it.
Okay.
I after doing A Wolf in Autumn, I think that actually kind of shows in A Wolf in Autumn that I was feeling really burnt out at that point. Just on, not necessarily on making horror games, but I guess on making that specific formula over and over, and feeling like I was getting, diminishing returns on it and diminishing interest in everything, and so I just felt really burnt out. And since I was a young teenager, I'd wanted to make a retro FPS, and so after taking a short break, I started experimenting with just some like low poly stuff, and eventually that started turning into a retro FPS, and I'm like, okay, I'll take this opportunity to finally, make that game I've wanted to make for years and years. And then a couple months into developing it, I just had a tech demo sort of thing together that just showed some of the environmental interaction and the weapon feel and movement and stuff. And just on a whim, I sent that to Dave because I knew he'd worked on the Rise of the Triad reboot, and even though that's a game with a lot of flaws, I've always really liked it, in spite of its flaws. So I'm like, I'll just send this to this guy, maybe he'll maybe he'll like it, maybe he'll retweet it or something. And actually he was like, okay, do you want a publishing deal? And I was like, maybe, I don't know. And so I think about a week later we had signed a contract.
Oh wow, awesome. And I think, how many other games are New Bloods publishing right now?
Oh geez, let's see.
Because I just saw you guys revealed a Medieval, which is kind of more of a heretic style thing, which I really dig.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous game. I've had to be secret about that for a while, but I've wanted to be like, guys, there's this beautiful looking, like, low texture poly game, blah blah blah. But let's see. There's Dusk, of course. There's a Medieval. There's Laser Type, which is a VR typing game. And there's Tonight We Riot, which is like they describe it as Pikmin with Molotovs. It's sort of a revolution simulator. And there's Unfortunate Spacemen, which is basically The Thing, the multiplayer game.
Oh my god. How have I missed that?
It's pretty interesting. You should check it out. It's still in early access right now.
The Thing the movie or The Thing the game?
The Thing the movie.
Nice.
So it's you're a bunch of spacemen. They even have the outpost map, like the outpost from The Thing. They even have a map that's like that. You're a bunch of spacemen, and one of you is an alien creature, and you're basically trying to complete a bunch of tasks, and the alien creature is trying to keep you from completing those tasks and also not be discovered. And it's generally a pretty good time. One of those games where you get on voice chat with people, and it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, I have a couple of my friends love playing TTT, and it's a great mode. Just like a secret Hitler or something like that. Someone is the monster. Figured out who it is.
Yeah, it's very much like that. Yeah.
That sounds great.
I love Secret Hitler. That's a quality title.
And then the last one we can't forget, Super Galaxy Squad, which has been out for a while and gotten a couple updates, which is it's a bullet hell. It's described as the people's shmup, because it's a bullet hell, but it's a pretty accessible one for people who aren't really used to the genre. Like me, it's one of the first bullet hells I've played, and I was like, this is actually really fun. So that's what New Blood's working on right now.
Pretty good gamut of games.
Yeah, eclectic mix.
Yeah.
And for an eclectic mix for a really strange publisher / developer / whatever.
I mean, and since I've been watching Dusk and some of the other stuff that they've put out, I think they have a pretty good, Dusk has gotten a lot of positive buzz. I've seen some news about the other stuff is they've got, if they play their cards right, could be giving Devolver a run for their money pretty soon.
I personally, I'm biased, but I personally think New Blood is on the way up, especially in terms of the retro FPS market.
Oh yeah, and that's
Dusk and the Medieval.
It's a big old burgeoning market at the moment between Doom and Wolfenstein and what you guys are doing. So you said, and CJ brought this up earlier, and I had heard of Wolf in Autumn before, but as somebody I'm starting out making my own stuff right now. What engine did you use?
Unity.
Unity?
I started game development way back when with QBasic, and then I moved on to Game Maker for a while, but for several years now I've been working in Unity. So all of my horror games and Dusk are in Unity, and I'm thinking about giving Unreal a try at some point, but you know, that's later. Right now the priority is getting Dusk finished, which is a pretty big task.
Am I mistaken in remembering that episode 2 is coming out very soon?
We are actually not going to be releasing episode 2 separately. The next landmark goal, whatever you call it, will be the full release of the game. Okay. Because Dusk is not actually early access.
Right.
You got early access to
Cornfield.
Oh, the Cornfield. Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm not really paying attention. So by pre-ordering Dusk, you get access to episode 1, and that's because we had episode 1 complete and people were demanding it, so we're like, sure, why not? But episodes 2 and 3, those are just gonna come out with the full release of the game.
Okay. So my PC gaming experience didn't go as far back as playing like Quake or these classic twitchy shooters. So right now this is kind of a sort of fresh experience for me, and I'm playing on an ultra wide. 120 hertz is feeling pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, priority was making sure it felt and ran really smooth. We have a nice QA team, New Blood. Actually, the majority of New Blood is a QA team, so they were very helpful in getting performance issues ironed out and stuff like that, to ensure the game runs as smooth as possible. Because you want to have that 120 FPS experience when you're going this fast.
Oh yeah. For the chat, we're gonna give away some copies of Dusk. If you want to enter, simply guess a number between 1 and 666. I'm trying out all these new giveaway tools today, and we'll
appropriate.
See. Yeah. So we'll see who gets the first key. And so right now I'm moving really quickly. Pretty great. And Jordan, you have experience with these kind of games, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I started, one of my first video games ever was Marathon 2. And then just this weird trickle throughout. And this was probably around when I was 6 and 7. My mom had this computer that she would let me use when I would hang out at her work, like in the back room. And it was like Windows 95, so it didn't, this was 2001, 2002. So other people were playing Halo, and I had found at Value Village, a new in-box copy of like Unreal Gold. And I spent, like, no joke, 500 plus hours just playing bot matches. Just because I was like fascinated with that as a child. And then add to that a little bit of FPS fire, I played the hell out of the versions of Doom and Wolfenstein on the Game Boy Advance. So yeah, a lot of retro.
I think you probably have some shotgun ammo too, CJ.
Yeah, I just went through my last round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The stream I'm watching is, delayed.
So read the red key. Cool.
Yeah, I actually didn't... I'm technically a little too young to have grown up with the, Doom and Duke and stuff. But I was sort of artificially, like, 5 or 6 years... Well, more than that. I was artificially older than it actually was, because around the time, like, friends were playing Halo 2 and Doom 3 was coming out and stuff like that. I was... excuse me. I was like playing old shareware because our computers wouldn't run anything else, and I didn't have a console and stuff. So,
did you ever have? Because what I had were, I don't remember where these discs appeared from, but the kind of like 1001 games on one disc.
Oh yeah.
And it was all just like shareware crap that you'd go into it and you'd beat the 10-minute demo. Like I had 2 of those. And that's some pretty okay games on them, actually, but, woof.
Yeah, we had one, it was called 250 Best Arcade Games, I think, and that's actually...
Nice.
Chasm the Rift was on there, and that's one of the games that got me really interested in older FPS, because it was just like this, scary, well, at the time, scary, gory, dark, gritty game, and it was like nothing I'd ever played before, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best.
That's what, because I still remember, you know, there's certain sensations you get playing games that you probably shouldn't be playing as a kid. And it goes beyond, because everybody, you know, talks about like when you're playing Doom as a kid and it's like, oh, you really shouldn't be playing this. But I remember Unreal, the first Unreal game, there's a moment when you like come out of your crashed ship onto the planet's surface and you're exploring, and this giant, just like Shrek of an alien comes at you, and he's double fisting like handheld rocket launchers.
Yeah, I remember.
And I remember like,
I'll mention real quick, if you ever feel like you're not making progress, if you type IDKFA on the keyboard, you'll get a whole bunch of goodies, ammo and health and stuff. So anyway, sorry.
Thank you. Did it work?
I just remember this moment of like genuine fear. Where like my palms were sweating and I was just freaking out because I hadn't learned the controls yet. But yeah, there is something special about this era of shooters. I'm glad to see it coming back, because for a while there it was like, not that I don't like Call of Duty and Battlefield, but it was turning into just that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a big fan of older shooters and actually older games in general. Like I've been playing this is gonna this might be bad to admit, but I had never actually played a Silent Hill game until just like a few weeks ago, where I started up Silent Hill 1. I was just like spellbound by this old PS1 game.
It's amazing, and it really does hold up today visually. There's something about the texture work that just makes it seem more nightmarish.
I think it was fantastic. Like, I mean, I love that. Again, obviously, I love that software rendered gritty, horrible looking, you know, low poly style.
There's something about, and I've been playing, because I'm also a big fan of just old games. I spent for the first time in my adult life, I was able to actually like start a collection of something that wasn't either accidental or from childhood. So I decided to start a PS2 collection of PS2 horror games. Just because I've always wanted to.
You type it in game. It's IDKFA. It should give you a bunch of stuff.
Oh, FA.
FA, yeah.
Okay. There we go. Oh, nice.
There is something, just like from Silent Hill to Resident Evil, there's something about just the grittiness and the pixelation on the texturing in those games that gives it a feeling that even games that look really good and look really gross, like Resident Evil 7 or Dead Space, they can't quite get that same feel.
Yeah, I've actually been playing Resident Evil 7 also recently for the first time, and while that location and atmosphere and everything is totally my thing, I think it's a little too shiny. Like, I was noticing there's a little too much specular in things. Yeah, and I'm like, this door would not have, you know, shiny finish on it if it's this decrepit looking and stuff.
Yeah, I think they were very much going for like a Texas Chainsaw thing, where everything just looks like it's been slathered in bacon grease.
That's actually my favorite horror movie. But,
yeah,
I mean, which I guess you can tell from playing Dusk.
All these dudes running around.
Yeah.
It's top 5 for sure for me.
We're gonna get some speed running.
Yeah.
Yeah. IDKFA will give you like a bunch of health. It'll give you all the weapons, and it'll give you all the keys. So if you get stuck at any point, then you can just use that. That's a get out of jail free button, basically.
I'm gonna restart my modem real quick.
All right.
Okay.
Be right back.
If I'm not too far from the end, I mean, I might as well just do it.
From the end of the game, you're on level 3 right now, and there are 11.
Oh,
well,
okay.
10.
Alright.
If you get the secret, and I can show you where the secret level is if you want to do that. But oh wait, actually, I can't use this one already. Never mind.
Oh no.
I forgot.
I'll just keep.
But there's also a level select screen, like if you want to
Okay.
go back.
So, with this game, is there a narrative underlying everything between everything?
There
or?
is, yeah,
okay.
and it's gonna be expanded on more in the coming episodes.
Oh, neat. Okay.
For right now, it's basically just, you know, you wake up after being hung on these meat hooks to these, you know, and then these leatherneck guys ready to carve you up, and then the mysterious voice kind of guiding you forward. And that's about all you get right now, but like I said, it'll be expanded on.
Would that be through notes?
Mostly I'm trying to do it through like environmental stuff and voiceovers. Dave, my producer has as much to do with the story and stuff as I do, so kind of a collaborative effort. I think if it were just me doing it, the storytelling would be a lot different than it is. Because I always tend to, well, I'm sure you know from playing the other games, I always tend to err on the side of too little rather than too much.
Well, I was actually quite a fan of how the notes were written, and they did feel like they added some depth to this very tiny scenario that you're jumping into. Like, I did feel like there was a lot going on, despite you know how little there actually was. I think I put that in one of my reviews that I was really impressed with the notes themselves.
Thanks.
I should replay Music Machine. It's been a while. Try to recommend that to my friends often.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm still pretty proud of all the games, really. Even it's Back in the Church, by the way. There's a I'm still proud of all of those games, even though I think each of them has some issues. But they were all learning experiences. And at some point, I would like to go back to maybe not doing that specific style of walking sim sort of horror. It's the hole with the boards over it. If you destroy the boards, you can go down.
Yeah, I'm trying to squeeze through them right now. There we go.
Maybe not specifically to that sort of walking sim horror, but at least to doing horror games again. Maybe I've been thinking about maybe doing a survival horror, traditional sort of, or I don't know. It's hard to plan ahead too much. Right now.
There have been attempts at PS1 style survival horror games with the pre-rendered camera angles and all that, but no one's been able to accomplish it well. That was back in 1995, which was just not great. I think there was one other attempt that's in Japan that's coming to the Switch. I forget what the name was. Haven't heard much about it, so that seems like a untapped market.
Yeah, and that was when I started working on Dusk. It was the same retro FPS, where the big motivation was really like, I want this type of game, and no one's really making it, so I guess I'll just make it. And I kind of feel that same way about fixed camera or well, it's not in the case of Silent Hill. It's not really fixed, but that style of camera, tank control, survival horror. Because I'm a weird guy who likes tank controls.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with them too.
But
I mean, you're talking to people on this site. Yeah, we're all pretty familiar with it and used to it, and I doubt any of us would complain. Always the rats. I was mentioning rats earlier.
Those guys on the hardest difficulty, you die in one hit.
Oh my god.
Those guys become the most dangerous enemy in the whole game.
Squeeze it through here.
Yeah. And you're running low on shells, I noticed, so you can actually switch to machine gun if you want, because I think you've got full ammo for that.
Oh yes, I do. It's nice. Yeah, Jordan prepared by playing through this once before, so this will be my first time going through.
Yeah, understand. It's difficult to play things with an audience, especially when it involves like navigation and stuff like that.
I've learned that well this entire weekend. We did Suffering Friday night. You saw some of that.
Yeah, I tuned in a little bit of that and then had to go.
Then we did earlier today Soma, and we had Thomas Grip on.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, that was fun. I'm sure you've seen his blog, and he's very insightful about the horror genre in general.
Yeah. Yeah, has very, very strong and thought out opinions on how the game should be.
Ooh, boulder. There we go.
That's
there you are.
I mean, every game developer does at some point. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I sure do. They change all the time too. That's why I stopped having a blog, because I realized, half of these things I said I don't agree with anymore.
Little rat. There you go.
Several, just like from all walks of the industry, from like the.
I think we lost him.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And man, a lot of, and I mean, they're definitely entitled to their opinion because they've made games, but a lot of game developers have opinions about games that they don't make. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I have found, like, I used to really enjoy writing reviews. That was interesting with the barrel there. But I don't know how much it's delayed.
That was 6 seconds maybe, like that.
Okay. I used to really enjoy writing reviews, but as I started being, I mean, I've made games for a while, but as I started being like, I'm making games that people are playing and people are, you know, reviewing in their turn and stuff like that. I don't know, it's a different perspective on the whole thing. It's not that I think reviews are bad or shouldn't be done, it's just then I kind of got this different perspective of, oh, now I know what it feels like to read those things and, you know, and stuff, and I just kind of lost my taste for it.
What do you say reviewers don't understand completely?
Oh, well, I don't think there's anything as a group I would say reviewers don't understand, but I think, it's more just when well, like I said, it's a very different perspective you get when you're seeing something that you've made and how you've thought about that thing and how you've gone about making it and stuff, and seeing how people react to it, and then thinking about yourself on that other end and you reacting to things people have made. I don't know if this is making any sense.
It makes sense.
It totally makes sense. Yeah.
Gives you kind of a different way of looking at it, and also, I know that when you're in the position of developing a game, sometimes you end up doing things that, as a reviewer, you would speak out against, just because it's like it's necessary in that moment, or like I remember Tom Francis, I think, who did Gunpoint, right? It's Tom Francis. I remember he was pretty outspoken about branching narratives being a good thing and would criticize games a lot for not having them. And then when he did Gunpoint, he found that he wasn't really able to do that, and he had to do a narrative that appeared to be branching but actually wasn't. So
I mean, it is such a bizarrely multifaceted process. It's not at all like a film. You know, you could do a visual novel, or you can do like a DUSK style shooter, or you could do, you know, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and that's all just in the indie space. That's all just a couple of people. So it really, I guess the thing that really bothers me is when people act like there are really concrete rules to what can and can't be done, or what shouldn't and shouldn't be done. Because
there aren't.
It's all dependent on who's doing it.
CJ, you might want to save coming up here.
Oh, I didn't really pay attention to the manual save. Cool.
Okay.
Oh, I totally missed talking about it. But the room back there in one of the barns where you have to flick the switch and then the two doors open up, that's one of the Doom.
Yes, that one is for Doom.
Yep. It's like
E1, M2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as I walked into that room, I'm like, this looks really familiar.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite moments in the episode, just because I love the drop, you know, from the red key, subverts your expectations, and then you're dropped into this room that's an obvious reference to Doom. It's just, I think it's a really cool moment.
Just absolutely helpless. Well, I mean, you're not helpless, but it's a very overwhelming force.
Yeah. Fun fact about the Intoxicator, by the way, he has moonshine jugs on his back, piping alcohol into his brain.
Nice. I like it.
Alligator, right? It's like
okay,
sure. And he's dead. I need to find a way out of here.
The pillar.
I did that.
Yeah, I hate this part because Dave was like, "That switch is too hard to find," and I'm like, "No, it's not. That's easy to find." And then it came out, and everyone's like, "I can't find the switch," and I'm like, "I hate this."
There we go.
I hate when Dave is right.
I found it when I walked into the room for the first time, and I thought it was going to affect the boss. That's what my process was. Squeeze through here.
Are you guys gonna patch the switch?
Possibly. I might leave it as it is out of spite. No, we'll probably do something about it.
Just like add a little light bulb that turns on when the. I know it's alright. It's the Intoxicator, right?
Yes.
Okay. I keep like almost saying the Feraligator, which is a Pokemon, I think, and it's not at all the same. Sorry.
Jordan, you could resume from the level I just got to.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to cut off, and I'm going to give the first giveaway key. We'll be right back, people.